You know what I have noticed? No matter how many times we clean our homes, it somehow never stays that way. Have you ever felt that? You clean everything, everything looks perfect, and then just a few days later, you look around and think, where did all this stuff come from? It's strange, isn't it? Because your home is not dirty. In fact, it's probably cleaner than most homes. If someone visited today, they would probably say, wow, your house looks beautiful. But
Wow.
here is the thing, you don't just want a beautiful home, you want a home that feels peaceful. And somehow, those two things are not always the same. Think about it for a second. There is probably a coffee mug sitting somewhere outside the kitchen, a phone charger that's been on the table for weeks, a chair that becomes everyone's favorite place to throw jackets, and hopes the delivery box near the entrance. You told yourself, I will get rid of it tomorrow. It's still there. The funny part is, none of these things are actually a problem. One mug is not a problem. One jacket is not a problem. One shopping bag is not a problem. But when all those little things quietly stay where they are, day after day, your brain keeps noticing them. Not because you want it to, but because that's what the brain does. It notices unfinished things. And before you even realize it, your home stops feeling like a place to relax and starts feeling like another to do list. I never really thought about this either until I came across a beautiful ideas inspired by Japanese living. They are surprisingly simple. No expensive furniture, no complicated rules, just small changes that can completely change how a home feels. And honestly, once I understood them, I started looking at my own home differently. So, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into someone else's home and instantly felt comfortable? Not because it was bigger, not because it was expensive. There was just something about it.
Hi,
You
please
wanted
come
to
on
sit
in.
down, take a deep breath, stay a little longer, and then you walk back into your own home. Yes, the same home you have spent years building, the same furniture, the same walls, the same decorations, but somehow it doesn't give you that same feeling. Why? For the longest time, I thought peaceful homes were simply more beautiful. Maybe they had better furniture, maybe they had better taste. But then I realized I was looking at the wrong thing. It was not about what those homes had, it was about what they made me feel. And that's when I discovered something fascinating. Some of the ideas behind peaceful Japanese homes have almost nothing to do with expensive decorations. Instead, they focus on something much simpler, helping your mind feel at rest. And the very first idea is probably the easiest one to try. So, what was the first thing I changed? Honestly, it was not buying new furniture. It was not getting rid of half of my things. And it definitely was not spending hours organizing. It was much simpler than that. I started asking one question: where does this belong? Not where should I put this for now, but where does it actually belong? At first, it sounded almost too simple, but then I started noticing something. Whenever I couldn't answer that question, that was usually the thing creating the clutter. The keys, the charger, the shopping bag, even that coffee mug. They were not lying around because I was lazy. They were lying around because they never really had a home. And once I gave them one, something unexpected happened. Cleaning became easier. I spent less time looking for things. And somehow
Wow.
the house felt lighter, not because I owned less, but because everything finally knew where it belonged. It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes we think we need a complete makeover when all we really need is a better place for the things we already have. So, here is something you can also try today. Pick just one object, maybe your keys, maybe your bag, maybe the charger that's been sitting in the same place for weeks, and ask yourself, does this have a home? If the answer is no, don't just put it away. Give it a place where it belongs every single day. You might be surprised how such a small change can make your whole home feel different. A few weeks later, I noticed something else. Even after giving everything a proper place, one room still didn't feel quite right. It was clean, everything was organized, but something still felt off. So I sat there for a while, just looking around, and then it hit me. I had spent years asking myself, what else can I add to this room? Another plant? Another lamp? Another painting? Or shelf? It never occurred to me to ask a completely different question: what can I remove? At first, it felt strange. We usually think an empty space means something is missing. But what if it's exactly what your mind needs? So I tried a simple experiment. I cleared one small corner of my living room. No decorations, no extra things, just space. And every time I walked past it, the room felt calmer. That's when I realized sometimes peace comes not from adding more, but from leaving a little room to breathe. There was one last lesson, and honestly, this one changed everything. Before buying anything new, I started asking myself one simple question: do I really need this? Because every new thing we bring home doesn't just take up space, it asks for our time, our attention, and our care. Sometimes, buying less is not about saving money, it's about protecting your peace. So maybe a peaceful home is not the one that has the most, it's the one that lets your mind finally rest.